and it's just so special for our club, mate, our club.
Lastly, after 57 years of pain, it's coming home.
Hey there, TJ here, and welcome to Yeahthedees. This is episode 7, and I'm going to be going through the Premiership team and the playing list and seeing where everybody came from, which draft, who did we trade for them, and anything in between. So we'll get cracking into it, but we'll prioritise the Premiership team first and then go through the rest of the playing list. Now first, let's start with the back line. Now in the back line, we're going to start with Michael Hibberd. Now we traded for Michael Hibberd at the end of 2016, where we traded pick 29 and pick 68 for Michael Hibberd and pick 59. 29 was used on Josh Begley, 68 was used on Dylan Clark, and we used pick 59 on Dion Johnston. Dion Johnston didn't get a game for the D's and is no longer on the list, but Hibberd is a Premiership player. Next, and we're on to a big trade here, which was to get Stephen May. Now, Stephen May, we got him at the end of the season in 2018. We ended up sending Jesse Hogan over to Fremantle to pick up pick 6, and then sent pick 6 over to the Gold Coast and got pick 23 and Colin Jasny in return. Now, pick 23 that year ended up being Tom Sparrow, who is also a Premiership player for us. Gold Coast went on to get Ben King. Unfortunately, Cade Kolodjasny only got the 2 games opportunity and didn't really fit into the side. Next, we've got another big trade, the Jake Lever trade. This was very contentious for a very long time because it was 2 first-round picks for him, but geez, he's worth every cent. Now, we sent over pick 10 from 2017 and also our round 1 pick from 2018. Now, Adelaide ended up sending that pick over to Carlton, so they picked up Liam Stocker, and in 2017, Lockie O'Brien got picked up for that pick 10. I tell you what, I'm pretty happy with Jake Lever. So next up is Jake Bowie. He was picked up in the 2020 draft with pick 22. Now, how do we get those picks? We ended up doing a trade with Brisbane where they sent us pick 18, 19 and a 2021 second round pick, and we sent them over pick 25, 68, 69 and our first round pick in 2021. The pick moved down a couple of positions due to bids on academy players. Next is Harrison Petty. Now, we picked him up in the draft in 2018 and he was pick 37. Now, for Christian Salem, he was picked up in the 2013 draft at pick 9. Now, that was the very contentious trade that Paul Roos did, where we traded our pick 2 and got back pick 9, pick 53 and former number 3 pick Dom Tyson. Now, Dom Tyson had only been in the system for 2 years by the time we had picked him up, and GWS went on to pick up Josh Kelly. Now, with the pick 53 that we got back, we ended up picking up Jaden Hunt, so that was pretty good. Things didn't work out with Dom Tyson, unfortunately. I thought he was pretty good servant at the football club, but he didn't really go on to do too much at North Melbourne. Now we move on to the midfield, and we're starting with our Premiership captain ruckman Max Gawn. Max Gawn was drafted in 2009 with pick 34. Now on to Clayton Oliver, who we drafted in 2015 with pick 4. Now we traded pick 6, pick 29 and a round 1 pick from next year for pick 3, which became pick 4, pick 10 and pick 43. We ended up trading out that pick 10, which ended up in Carlton's hands, and we ended up actually bidding on Callum Mills. Now, Callum Mills was a academy player for the Sydney Swans, and that ended up pushing the pick back 1, and we took Clayton Oliver. Now, looking at some interviews that Paul Roos has done, he was adamant that we were going to get Clayton Oliver, and that's why we moved up the draft to make sure that we could get him. Next, we've got Jack Viney, who was picked up in the 2012 draft at pick 26, and he was a father-son. In 2019, we traded for Ed Langdon. We traded pick 22, pick 76, and 2020 round 2 pick, and got back Ed Langdon and pick 26. Now, that pick 26 we picked up ended up going and picking up Trent Rivers, which is pretty incredible. So 2 Premiership players in that trade. And then our pick 22 that we sent over ended up being Harry Schoenberg. The pick 76 didn't even get used, and the round 2 pick ended up at Adelaide and was used on James Rowe. Next, we have Norm Smith medalist Christian Petrarca. Now, he was picked up in pick 2 in the 2014 draft. That was kind of paired up with Angus Brayshaw, who was picked up at pick 3 in the 2014 draft. Now, we got that pick for compensation for losing James Frawley to Hawthorn. Onto the forward line. In 2019, we drafted Cozzy Pickett with pick 12. Now, that was actually pick 8, but it got pushed back because of some other bids that happened with Carlton and Fremantle. This was a draft pick that we picked up by trading our future first round pick in 2020 to get North Melbourne's pick 8. Got pushed back, but we ended up picking up Cozzy Pickett. Tom McDonald was picked up in the 2010 draft, and he was pick 53. He's also the player that has played the most games for Melbourne that was in the grand final team. James Harmes was picked up in the 2014 rookie draft at pick 2. Bailey Fritsch was picked up in the 2017 draft at pick 31. Now we traded Jack Watts, the former number 1 pick, for that pick 31 that we got from Port Adelaide, and a bit of Bailey Fritsch. Kicked 6 snags in the grand final, which was incredible. Ben Brown, we got in a trade at the end of the 2020 season. We traded pick 26, which ended up being Caleb Holter, pick 33, which was Henry Smith, and a 2021 future round 4 pick. We ended up getting Brown, pick 28 that we used on Fraser Rosman, and a 2021 future round pick, which we will use later in the year. Alex Neil-Bullen, we picked up in the 2014 draft at pick 40, and then onto our interchange. We got both Luke Jackson and Trent Rivers in the 2019 draft. Luke Jackson was with our first round pick for finishing so low, and Trent Rivers, we actually got that draft pick in the Ed Langdon trade. Charlie Spargo was picked up in the 2017 draft at pick 29, and then as mentioned before, Tom Sparrow picked up in the 2018 draft at pick 23. We also drafted James Jordan in the 2018 draft at pick 33. Onto the playing list, and Luke Dunstan we picked up this year as a delisted free agent. Jake Melksham we picked up from a trade in 2015. We sent over pick 25, which was used on Mason Redmond. Sam Wiedemann we picked up in the draft in 2015. Now that was one of the picks we got back when we traded pick 10, pick 43 and 64 to GWS, and we got back pick 7, which ended up becoming 9 when we drafted it, and we also picked up Thomas Bugg. I thought Thomas Bugg was a pretty solid and serviceable player until he punched that bloke against the Sydney team. Adam Tomlinson was picked up at the end of 2019 as an unrestricted free agent. Jaden Hunt was a draft pick in 2013. We picked him up at pick 57. Joel Smith we got in the rookie draft at pick 41. That is an absolute bargain. Fraser Rosman, mentioned before, pick 34. Got that in a trade. Toby Bedford was drafted in 2018 at pick 75. That is a very late pick to be picking up someone, and he's still on the list 3 years later, which is fantastic. Oscar Baker we got in the 2017 draft at pick 48. Bailey Laurie 2020 draft, pick 21. Cade Chandler 2019 rookie draft, pick 15, and he had some interest in him in the off-season but decided to stay with Melbourne. Deacon Smith we got in the 2021 preseason supplementary selection, and Disco Turner we got in the 2021 mid-season draft. Mitch Brown we picked up in the 2019 preseason supplementary selection, and Majak Dor, who's still on the list, we picked him up in the 2021 preseason supplementary selection. So with supplementary selections, it just means that the player was delisted, and if you still had a spot on your list, you're able to put him on your playing list before the start of the year. So that's it for today's episode. We have just gone through how we got everybody on the Melbourne list. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and go the D's.
Petrarca! Oh wow! How good is that?
But the crowd noise level here is illegal, JB. It is so noisy. Sparrow to make it a 3-goal, 3-point lead. He's got it. Melbourne are up by 3 goals.
Surely not another one. Handball to Oliver. Streaming through. Bang! Bang, bang, bang! Melbourne are the premiers for 2021.
And it's just so special for our club, mate, our club.
Lastly, after 57 years of pain, it's coming home.